One of the most powerful assets in your business is your personal brand. But the thing is, it's not just about having a brand, it's about positioning your personal brand in a way where people actually want to work with you. Most business owners miss this. They think just posting content and sending DMs is building a brand. The thing is, that doesn't actually get people wanting to work with you. And I've been there myself. I've grinded hours of my day posting content, sending more DMs, hopping on more sales calls, thinking that I'm doing the things that'll build my brand and that will position me differently from everyone else, making them want to work with me. But I couldn't be more wrong. My problem was how my content positioned me. It didn't position me as someone as an authority who has a unique methodology and a unique philosophy on how to get results for my ideal clients. In simple terms, I was like everyone else. Here's why positioning matters. When your brand is positioned as the go-to authority, your content doesn't just attract attention, it attracts the right people for your service. You don't have to chase clients or beg for sales calls. They come to you ready to pay and wanting to work with you. And when I started positioning my brand in a way that made me stand out, I started to get messages like these asking me about my services and seeing how they could work with me. So in this video, I'll show you how I position my personal brand to get people wanting to work with me. Now, a personal brand is an asset. So that means there are assets that actually build the asset. So there are 3 digital assets I'm going to go over in this video with you. First is marketing, your marketing positioning. Second is your brand, how people visualize and see your brand. And third is the intellectual property that make you stand out from everyone else in the marketplace. When you align these 3 digital assets in your personal brand ecosystem, this is when you build something that I call a monopoly personal brand. When you have that, that makes you the only choice for your audience to choose to work with. Now, real quick, if you want to implement the insights I'm going to be sharing in this video, you can grab a free PDF copy of the exact personal brand assets I'm going to be using in my business. All you have to do is click the link in the description, put your name and email, and you'll get it. And you'll automatically be added to my newsletter where I send daily emails on how you could grow a business while working less hours. All right, so these are going to be the personal brand assets that I'll be deploying and focusing on to position my personal brand to convert leads to customers and then to clients. Or in other words, get people wanting to actually work with me without me needing to send cold DMs and do endless sales calls and so on. So our goal is to have people come to us in a way that is easier, faster, and again, the focus is warm inbound and never cold. So there are 3 core areas where I'm going to be developing or deploying personal brand digital assets. So the 3 key areas are market, which is my positioning, where I post content, and my list. So my list is my list of warm leads that actually signaled interest into the problem that I solve. That's my list. This could be an email list and so on. Brand, this is how I stand out from everyone else and why people choose to work with me. That's my brand. Intellectual property, this is the content that I create that's unique to me, my unique methodology and how I get results, and my unique ideas and IP that is exclusive to me, to my personal brand. Now, what I noticed is things only started to really work for me when I nailed these 3 areas. So the 3 key areas, again, brand, marketing or market, and intellectual property. Now the thing is, when you have these 3 key areas, when you nail down these 3 key areas, this is when you build a well-positioned personal brand, right? And when you have a well-positioned personal brand, it makes it easier to convert a lead into a customer and then a customer into a client, or in other words, your funnel, right? So each of these parts will directly contribute to more leads, customers, or clients. So for example, if you want more leads, that means your market position needs to be very good. People need to come across your content or come across your profile, realize that your positioning is different from everyone else, and give them a reason to follow you and actually consume your content. So your market position needs to be good. Now, if you want people to actually buy from you, then you need to have intellectual property that is different and unique to you. That's how you convert a lead into a customer. You sell intellectual property. Then if you want people to become clients or transform customers into clients, that's when you need to have a good brand. People need to actually like how you do things. They like your brand. That's when they become clients. So each of these things are connected. So it's not only about posting more content and sending more DMs, doing all these things. It's about how you have your personal brand positioned. If you have these 3 things in place, it makes it so much easier to get leads, customers, and clients. So it's more about the assets that you have in place in these 3 core areas. Now, here's what I personally noticed. I noticed more people would find me on socials and would click on what I have going on and decide to join my email list because of my positioning in the market. Because when I had a clear, unique, and advantageous position in the mind of people, that's when I got the most interest in my product and services after. So then followers and subscribers would want to buy my offers when I showed them that I had intellectual property with a unique way to get to their goals. Okay, it's positioned in a way where it's different from everyone else. Then customers would want to become clients because they like my brand, my philosophy, and want to take it further and embody the identity that I promote. Okay, so these are the three things that really help me get more clients without requiring me to send more cold DMs. Now, this is how it would look like. So in these three core areas, there are digital assets that build up that area. So for example, for market assets, there are three things that go into it that I'm going to develop. First is positioning, which is your big picture, how you're different from other people, so people understand your ideology, how you're different. Channels is where you promote your content. Email list is basically your list of people that already opted in and showed signal of interest that they want more of your content or they're interested in your offers. That's your email list. Now, these three things come together and they create your market positioning or your market assets. Then there's intellectual property, which for me is perspective shifting content, which is basically the content that shifts people's perspective on their problems and makes my offer seem like it is attractive. Now, content is an asset in itself. If you create a good piece of content that shifts people's perspective and makes them believe that you are the answer or your product and service or your offers is the answer for their problems, they're more likely to buy. So I call this perspective shifting content. Each piece of perspective shifting content is an asset that will continuously work for you to generate more customers for you. So that is an asset. I call it intellectual property assets. After perspective shifting content, there's unique methodology. It is basically your model on how you get results. How are you different from everyone else in the market? Then there's your big ideas and intellectual property, which are unique ideas to you only. It's your coined term. No one else can take it, or if people mention this term on social media, they can directly connect it to you. They know it's you. You're the one who has this idea, so it's attributed to you. Then there's brand assets, which is your philosophy, your identity, and then the ambassadors or the people that you associate with or the client success that you have. Now, I'm going to go through exactly how I plan to have mine set up for 2025 in all of these areas and digital assets. So for the first asset, so my positioning is pretty straightforward. So my positioning is like so. The moment someone believes implementing systems and developing digital assets is the key to financial freedom and a profitable business, then all objections will disappear and people will want to buy. That's my positioning. So you want to do the same. So the moment someone believes in your unique idea is the key to what they want, the desired outcome, then all objections will disappear and people want to buy. Now, I'm going to use this as my one-line code throughout all of my business. Anytime I lose sight, this is my overarching message and vision. So if I'm creating content, all of my content or all of the things that I put out onto social media is going to somewhat scream this message out. It's going to distribute this message. The moment someone believes implementing systems and developing digital assets is a key to financial freedom, profitable business, then all objections will disappear and people want to buy. Basically, I'm going to be saying this 1,000 times over in different ways. Again, this doesn't need to be perfect or super specific. It just needs to encapsulate the idea of my positioning and how I'm different. Anyone should be able to read it and understand the picture. Everything after I create, publish, or talk about somewhat or somehow contributes to this code or this idea. So that's my marketing position. Now, channels. So channels is where you choose to create content. For me personally, I'm doubling down on one core channel, which is YouTube. Other platforms work, but I specifically choose YouTube because of the leverage. Now, I can create one VSL style video, like the one I'm recording right now on YouTube each week, where I go in deep onto how my intellectual property gets results and my philosophy and so on, and it will generate leads and clients for me over time. People will opt into my email list. People will see my offers in my email list. They'll subscribe to my YouTube channel, start to watch more videos. They'll get more familiar with what I preach, my philosophy, and my brand, my intellectual property. They're more likely to become customers and clients. This is why I'm focusing on YouTube. So as you can see, one video here gets me 2,000 views over time and 70 subscribers and continues to get me views to this day. And like so, this is another video I published. Over time, it gets me more subscribers, more views, and to this day, it's still getting me views. So YouTube videos are digital assets. They'll continue to work for you over time. So that's why I choose YouTube personally. Now, as usual, I share valuable insights or perspective shifts. I do not show people how to solve their problems step by step. I give them the what and why so they can get an understanding, but they'll still be left with a feeling of not knowing exactly how to put it all together. Now, my goal is to show people the what and why and not give them the how, because then if I give them the how, they won't really become clients. They have no reason to buy. You just gave them the how. So my goal is to show them the what and why so they can be sold into what I preach and what I sell, and then they decide to buy and become a client. My goal is not to run a charity, give everything for free. My goal is to actually run a business. Okay, so now what about other channels? What about other than YouTube? So I currently have a presence on Threads and X. And I'm on there because I mainly create content for email. So I could easily repurpose the content I create for email onto Threads and X. So I'm going to be still maintaining a presence there, but it's not going to be the focus. For 2025, my focus is going to be on YouTube because I noticed that leads to me getting better results. Now, you want to see which channels work for you. Now, all channels work. What matters is you stay consistent with the channels that you're using. And for me, it's going to be YouTube. Now, email list, or in other words, which is your list of warm leads. So this is really nice quote by Daniel Priestley. As an entrepreneur, you don't have many safety nets, but the one safety net you have is your email list, which is a great database of warm leads. And that's valuable because every lead is an asset in your business. If you, God forbid, a client churns, or you need to make more money, or you need to instantly launch a product, if you have an email list or a list of warm leads, you can immediately launch something and make money right away. That is your safety net as an entrepreneur. So for me personally, I'll be directing everyone on socials, YouTube channel, X, Instagram, whatever I'm on, to join the 2 Hour Man's newsletter, which is my email list, where I'll send the daily insights where I could nurture them and sell more of my offers. So this is my landing page on how it looks like. Basically, on my landing page, I have a clear promise. This is my positioning and big idea. Big idea. You see, my position and big idea is the 2-hour business. All right. So I have my position, big idea. People are more likely to click on it because they see, oh, this is different. This is different from other people. He talks about business. I might be talking about the same exact concept that other people talk about, but because I package it in as 2-hour business, it's a coin term to me. People are more likely to buy my offers, listen to me, and so on. So this is very important. It's actually positioning, having a big idea on your landing page or your newsletter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set clear expectations that I send daily and that I make promotional offers. This way I deter people that probably never buy or complain about daily emails. And on every single short form content, social media that I create for Threads, Instagram, whatever, I'm going to have a CTA to join my email list or watch a YouTube video, because my goal is to get people to be exposed to my intellectual property, my philosophy, so they can become customers and then clients. Short form content is great for getting attraction, but it's really bad at converting people to become customers or clients because they don't know you, they don't trust you, they don't understand anything about your philosophy, the intellectual property that you have, they don't understand how you're different. So me directing people to my email list where I can send daily to them and I could send more in-depth content, and to my YouTube channel, they're more likely to watch a video like this, understand that, okay, I like your style, I'm more likely to buy from you, okay? So my goal is to basically get people to immediately get more exposure to my intellectual property and philosophy and convert them from a stranger to a lead, and then a lead to a customer, and then a customer to a client. And basically I do that using email. So I'll send a minimum 1 email a day, and at times I might send 3 to 4 times a day to do 2 things. I want to give people an opportunity to buy intellectual property and become a client. So my perspective is this: you join the email list because you have a problem, right? I'm giving you the opportunity to solve your problem, right? So I'm doing them a favor. I'm not being annoying, I'm doing them a favor. So They are looking to solve their problems. That's why they're on the email list. So the more likely I give them opportunity to solve their problem, the better it is for them. So you need to change your perspective if you're struggling with thinking it's spam, sending more emails a day. It's not spam as long as you actually share insightful, nourishing information and you actually give people an opportunity to buy at the end of that email, it should be fine. Okay? The goal is also to nurture and shift people's perspective on their problems and be more familiar with my offer and so on. Also, you also want to be sending, if you send more emails, you're going to also get the people who never buy off your email. So it's an automatic cleaner. And the people that actually like more emails are more likely to become a customer and client. So it's a win-win for you and for them. Okay, so email is going to be the core place I'll be selling because I will not be sending cold DMs or doing sales calls. So I'm going to be selling my offers using email campaigns, daily emails. So this is why email is going to be a core part of the strategy. And at the same time, I still grow a list of warm, qualified leads. That's my goal. That's an asset because at any time I want to sell an offer, a new product, I have a list of leads I will continuously buy, and that's my safety net. Okay, and I also want to clean it all the time. I don't want to keep it dirty with people that are just freebie seekers or they're just for value. The goal is to have quality people in your email list who actually engage with you, like your brand, like your philosophy, buy all your offers. That's the goal. That's how you build a sustainable, scalable business, is having a good email list of people and having a good brand surrounded. So next is intellectual property assets, which is basically how you convert leads into customers. You must have intellectual property assets to do that. So the first part is perspective shifting content. So this is an idea that I have unique to me. So perspective shifting content is basically the type of content that shifts people's perspective and it aggravates people's problems and pains, and then at the same time positions your offer as a solution to those pains and problems. So in simple terms, content is a digital asset in itself. If you create a good piece of content, you can reuse it, repurpose it, redistribute it, remix, repost, whatever. If it works, you reuse it over again, and that will continuously get you more clients or more leads and more customers. Now, the best type of content, like I mentioned, is perspective shifting content because it makes people get aha moments. If you can get more aha moments from people that watch you, the more likely they are to like you, share your content, and buy your stuff because they're going to have like eureka moment. They'll be like, oh, that's why I have that problem. And because they get the aha moment with you, they like and trust you, they build a connection with your brand, they're more likely to buy from you. Now, how does perspective shifting content looks like? I explained this before in previous videos. I'm going to go over this very quickly. So let's say the motivation to buy is people's problems and the solution. The severity of the problem they have in their head and the solution, the attractiveness of the solution that you sell. If you want to maximize the motivation of people to buy, you want to basically increase the problem awareness and you want to increase the attractiveness of your offer. Now, perspective shifting content does that. It talks about the pains. So let's say this is the gap between current state and then future state, which is where they want to be, right? What perspective shifting content, it aggravates the pains and problems. So it makes them feel like, okay, my current state is actually worse than it actually is. And if I stay here, I'm going to suffer more. And then at the same time, it positions your offer as very attractive. And at the same time, because you increase the attractiveness of your offer, this increases the gap. So people's motivation to buy is the gap between their current state and their future state. The bigger their gap is, the more likely they are to buy. Now, when you give free content, which is what most people do, is you basically give them the solution to their problem, and that reduces their pain, so their motivation to buy goes down significantly. And then they start taking your offer for granted because they'll start saying, oh, let me just try this one thing, and then I'll buy your thing. This is not what you want. What you want is perspective shifting content that aggravates people's problems and pains, and then positions your services and products in a way that is attractive. They buy from you and they become your client. Okay? And when you do perspective shifting content right, you basically get leads reaching out on their own to work with you rather than requiring aggressive sales tactics. You know, you're posting all this free value content, you know, you get a lot of views, you start DMing everyone, then you start to try to book appointments with everyone, then you try to hop on a sales call, then you try to, it's too much friction there. But if you just do one perspective shifting content, people resonate with that piece of content, they message you and they said, hey, I want you to solve this problem for me. It is way easier to sell someone that is more problem aware than someone that's not problem aware and you solve their problem and they don't really care, right? So that's our goal. Our goal is to create perspective shifting content and using perspective shifting content to then use that to generate leads and customers and so on. So we create perspective shifting content by first having a clear picture of the problems that your audience has, and then figuring out the second and third order consequences of those problems and what happens when they start doing the right things to get the solution. So you want to have a problem and then a solution. You want to have a clear picture of that. So for me, it's visualized in this visual. So the problem is the business owners that I work with, their business requires them to work extensive hours in a day, and that gets them feeling of never having enough time to grow their business, which looks like so, this image over here. You can see the guys working really hard, they scale, they reach a point where they're overwhelmed, they lose clients, and then they're forced to build systems. Now for me, the solution is if you want to grow your business working less hours and not require all this friction, all 12-hour days, extensive hours, instead what we want to do is build and implement systems that require less operation demand on you so you can spend most of your time growing the business, and if you want, you can actually enjoy the money you make. And this is how it looks like. Instead of scaling to over beyond your client capacity, we scale, build systems, scale, build systems, and in that way, we work smarter, not just harder. And this is how it looks like. We choose to work smarter, not harder. So that's in a nutshell my perspective shift, that anyone that comes across my content, I'm basically going to explain this visual in many different ways. Okay, so I'll be basically describing the image 1,000 times, but in different ways. This is my perspective shift. Every piece of my content, I want them to sort of have this perspective shift. Now, if you are in the 2R Club, which is my private community, you can check out the 2R funnel in the school group to learn how to write perspective shifting content. I have a framework on there if you want to use that. Cool, so next is unique methodology. So unique methodology is how you do things differently to get to dream outcome. So for me, my promise is simple. In simple terms is more money, more time. In other words, financial freedom. There are a ton of people who talk about more time and more money. So many people who talk about this concept. The thing is, what makes you different is your unique methodology to that dream outcome. That's how you get people to want to buy from you. So my methodology to get more money, more time is digital assets, tools, and systems that do the heavy lifting for you. Okay, so when you implement digital assets, tools, and systems, that makes it easier for you to scale your business because they do the work for you. Now, people will want to buy your stuff because you have a unique methodology that gets to their dream outcome the way they want it, or the way that you describe it that seems way better than everyone else. This is where you turn it into unique intellectual property below. Okay, so once you have your unique methodology, you want to figure out your own style of doing things, then you actually put a label onto it, you intellectualize it, put a trademark to it. So if you notice, almost everything I create has 2 hours in it. My big idea is a 2-hour business, which is basically this, and I have an image for it over here, right? All my workshops, trainings, or content, I'll put my own branding or name on it. So my community is called the 2-hour Club. I call myself the 2-hour Man. I call deep work the 2-hour routine. Productive workflow, I call that the 2-hour lean workflow. If I call it digital asset, like for example, sales content, content that sells, I call it perspective shifting content. So these are big ideas that I attribute to my system and my personal brand. Okay, so these are very important. Having big ideas in intellectual property differentiates you from everyone else and makes people more likely to buy your offer. Now let's dive into brand assets. So the first brand asset is your philosophy. Your philosophy basically answers the question, why you? So my general philosophy is this: work smarter, not harder. Look for ways you can build things that'll do the work for you. So you want to think of it this way. So you want to think, how do most people do it? What is most people's general philosophy? The generic philosophy in my market is you need to grind hours a day to be productive and grow your business. Like almost everyone is screaming this at the top of their lungs. But for me, my positioning is different. I position myself completely different from everyone else. My philosophy is this: it's not the hours you work that matters, it's what you accomplish with the hours you work. As a 2-hour man, which is my identity, we accomplish more with 2 hours of focus than most do in a week. Okay, so it's about working smarter, not harder. And then I have a full philosophy over here, I'm not gonna go over this, of like the hustler, which is what most people do, and then the 2-hour man, which is the identity that I promote. The identity that I promote, that you get if you become a client. So it's all of this. If you want, there's a PDF you can copy, you can actually read all of this. Okay, then that gets us to identity, which is basically your world. Why should people want to join your world? So when people come across me on socials, I want them to experience my brand as a premium brand and have them connect with me on a personal level as a creator. And I do this by having consistent colors and fonts unique to me so people can start to form an identity in their minds. Even if it gets boring, I keep the same identity because that's how people start building a connection. You want people to build a connection with you. And I also do that by sharing what I'm up to behind the scenes and how I create things and the value it creates in my life. This allows people to like and trust you and relate with you. Here's where I think I can personally improve by showing more behind the scenes to my world. So it's called personal brand for a reason. You want to actually show how you build things, what you do behind the scenes. You actually want to show that. So pictures and videos really help. So my desk, the gym, the results, client work, assets I create, and more. So you want to show, you also, like all this philosophy stuff, you want to show the results of that, like what happens. So from your philosophy, you want to get people to connect that philosophy to actual lifestyle pictures or tangible things. So like for me, I preach 2-hour business, so I can show multiple ways of how 2-hour business is helping me. I could show me traveling. I could show me ending my workday in 2 hours. I could show my clients the results and how they were able to grow their business with only 2 hours a day or operate their business 2 hours a day. So it's more like the philosophy needs to be connected with images and videos that actually back up what you're talking about. So that's where Identity Your World. This is really powerful because this gets people to want to actually become a client of yours. When they like your philosophy, they like your brand, and they see how you're getting results or how this has improved your life, it works. Basically, lifestyle marketing does work in personal brand. And the final asset is client success and ambassadors. So trust, likability, and reputation can be transferred to your brand if you're associated with people who are winning. So if you run a brand, the easiest example of this is when you hire influencers to represent your brand. Your brand elevates because those influencers' reputation is associated with your brand. So for me, my goal is to basically treat my clients like brand ambassadors. And my goal is to make them win so hard that they become ambassadors to my brand. Now, this allows other people to see what it's like to work with me or to join my private community, the 2-Hour Club. And this gives them more reasons to become clients. So I'm going to do this by working on documenting client wins, small or big. All of them matter, and share the insights with others. And again, I'm not going to give free value or free intellectual property. I'm only going to give insights, which is basically the what and the why things matter. Now, the how things, like I mentioned earlier in this video, like the tactical stuff, intellectual property, tools, system, digital assets that actually lead to results, that's going to be behind a paywall that actually gets people a reason why to buy. You know, I run a business, not a charity. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I created another video called the 2-Hour Funnel, where I go into great detail on how I transform leads all the way into clients and customers without sales calls. If you want to see that, you can click the link in the description below, and I put in the cards over here. See you in the next video.